Game day returning for the Arizona Coyotes on this January day as they get ready to host the Chicago Blackhawks. We're going to be talking about that as well as just a few other things on today's episode of Locked On Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Robyn, Carl Pavlik right beside me on this wonderful Thursday, January 6th. 2022. I had to think about that one for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, what year are we in again?
My day job involves me writing a lot of years, so I'm still writing 2021 for like half of my things, and then 2022 for a small amount, just because I'm talking about last year still, and it causes no end of chaos.
Oh, it'd be like that sometimes. But we are here on this episode to talk about the Arizona Coyotes game day preview as they get ready to face the Chicago Blackhawks. Last time they faced each other, what was it, November?
I think so, yes.
And then that game didn't go on so well. And I thought it was going to be a better game because Chicago also is a no bueno team. But
This is true, yeah. It was funny. Like I was before going into this week, I'm like, no, the Jets and the Blackhawks are pretty much on the same level. They're not. The Jets are slightly higher than the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks are a bad team. Last game was a 2-1 matchup, and of course, it came down to a bunch of former players. I think Andrew Ladd scored for the Coyotes, and then Dylan Strome with the game winner. Just a rough go. Hopefully, a better outcome tonight, and definitely is the potential for there being a better outcome.
Are we going to have to see Dylan Strome go again and try to do something as the trend has been for former Coyotes players?
That seems to have quieted down a little bit, which I'm happy to see. Definitely a chance that Dylan Strome has a big night. He's been pretty quiet, and as a Strome fan, I'd like to see him have a good night, just not against the Coyotes.
I mean, as someone who's watched the kid in Tucson, I root for the kid as much as I can too.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because he was not treated well when he was here in Arizona.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that at this point, being drafted third overall has had a major negative impact on Dylan Strome's career. I do think that if he had gone, top 10, maybe middle 10, he would be looked at as a great player. But there's just so much baggage that comes with being a top 3 overall pick that it's just rough.
I mean, isn't that's just the case every year, right? Just look at any top 3 player in the last 5-6 years, and those players are always under a heavy microscope.
Yeah.
Look over in New York. A lot of people want to pay attention to Alexei Lafreniere, and he has not had all the numbers to everyone be like, oh, this is first overall guy. He just
Yeah. I mean, and before that, you have a player like Neil Yakupov. It's always been a situation where there's a lot of benefits to going early. There's a lot of financial benefits to going early.
Right.
And if you can make that jump, then it's great. But each player's kind of time to develop is different, and some players are able to make the jump right away, others can't. Some are never able to make the jump, and Dylan Strome, I think he can. I think he's just going to be late, and I think he's going to be in a more limited role than people initially thought when he was a 17-year-old watching him play. I could only imagine what people watching me at 17 thought I was going to be as I grew up, and how off they would be.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And even a few years ago, everyone was looking back at that that pick, and there's like, man, like look at the players the Coyotes could have picked in that 2015 draft, because that 2015 draft was pretty freaking deep.
I mean, the big one is always going to be Marner, right?
Exactly, that's the
Yeah.
big one.
And that just goes to kind of like the draft logic that coaching and GMs have, because it did seem like they made kind of a, oh, he's a center. There's a premium on center, so that's good. Marner's a winger. Marner was also a little bit smaller, if I recall, and the trend of drafting size has always continued. I don't want to say the Coyotes made the wrong move in the moment, but they did in the long term.
Exactly. 'Cause I could tell you one thing is for sure. I had a lot of friends down here in Tucson. I wouldn't say a lot, but I had a few friends down here in Tucson who were pretty obsessed with Dylan Strome for a while.
Yeah.
They were just all over him. It's like, oh my God, Dylan Strome, Dylan Strome, Dylan Strome. It got to the point when I'm just like, come on, like, I get it, yeah, but really?
Yeah, which is another kind of thing. I honestly, for a while, I felt the same about Connor Garland. I thought he was a great player, but I thought he was a little bit overhyped. And that's just a horrible way to think about a player. To you see it now on hockey Twitter a lot. You're like, which player is overrated, and all that. And I don't like to think of it that way anymore. Let's kind of go hard numbers for Dylan, though. He has played in 23 games this season. He has 3 goals, 5 assists, and is a -5. Um, 3 goals, not that much. Chicago in general is pretty low scoring this season. They're like right around the Coyotes in fewest goals for per um, on the season. The Coyotes are 32nd with 64. Nice, very Nintendo. Chicago only 29th with 74. So 10 more goals, 2 more games. In general, the
That's
Chicago
still a
offense
pretty
is the
big
worst.
gap.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't want to throw all the blame on Strom for a rough season. It seems like Chicago in general is having a rough season.
I mean, let's be real though. Outside of what that pre-pandemic run that Dylan Strome had, that he was just like, this looked like this guy was gonna go really crazy, and it's like, oh my God, this guy he might actually really have a good season. He's only looked mediocre.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I don't think he has looked particularly good. I just really I want success from him, but like I said earlier, I don't want it to come tonight. I hope he stays slow. Let's see. When was the last time? Let's pull up the game log. He had an assist last time the Blackhawks played against Colorado, which, oh boy, that was, if not a game, at least an ending for a game. Did you see that Cale Makar goal?
I did see that Kale McCarr goal.
Oh, that was.
Um,
I didn't even realize that there was a Chicago game. I was just like, I was preparing the preview for
no, you're just
5
watching.
Island.
You're just watching Kale McCarr just do Kale McCarr shit.
Yeah, doesn't matter who he's up against. He's just doing Cale Makar stuff.
When the Coyotes play Colorado, that will be.
Not looking forward to it.
Mm-mm, mm-mm, definitely not. But you know what? We'll continue this topic of talking of Coyotes versus Blackhawks in just a sec. We'll actually get into the game breakdown, other things we can expect on tonight's game, all in just a sec. But first, a quick word from our sponsors, and we're back. So let's keep talking about this game, Carl, and to get on this episode of Locked On Coyotes. Um, Blackhawks at Coyotes. That's tonight at 7 p.m. at Gila River Arena, as the usual home time start is.
Yep.
Uh, Goalie projections. Obviously, it's projections, no confirmations as of the time of this recording. Marc-Andre Fleury in net for the Chicago Blackhawks, Karel Vejmelka in net for the Arizona Coyotes.
Do you put Vejmelka in net or do you put Wedgwood?
I would put in Wedgwood.
I will say I thought Vejmelka looked good against the Jets. I don't want to take anything away from him. I do think that first goal may have been his fault, but he didn't get any offensive support. But Tournier has been pretty good at staggering his goalie starts, and I think that works well. I would start Wedgwood.
I would, yeah. I think there's a couple times when you would start a goalie back to back. Maybe if a goalie didn't have a great game,
Yeah,
he's like, all right, here's your bounce back game, and if not, we're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep rotating. Um, Wedgwood's last game wasn't great, and that's just last week against San Jose. Um, and it that's just not on him either. That was on the entire team.
yeah,
Both teams, just be real, were just terrible in that
yeah.
game.
There was a weird game. You should not make any kind of assumptions off of that
No,
game
you
in
don't make any
general.
assumptions from that game, and that's why I think because it's been over a week since Wedgwood's played, let's get him in there.
Yeah, I would agree. Get him in there. He's had plenty of time to practice. We have seen. I think goalies are the players who benefit most from practice, more so than forwards and defensemen. Um, at least Coyotes goalies are, because we tend to have good goalie coaches. But yeah, throw a wedgie in there.
I would definitely love to see that. Fleury will be an interesting goalie to see as the usual because it's Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah. I think we're all just kind of really sad that it looks like his career is coming to an end in Chicago.
Yeah,
Like
I
there,
mean, everyone knew that was going to eventually happen once the whole Vegas thing happened this summer.
yeah, but there was talk that he was going to retire, and just not show up to Chicago. I don't know how serious that talk was during the off season, but it was there, and I do kind of wonder. I'm like, if you are Marc-Andre Fleury, are you happy that you are in the second worst team in the Pacific Division? Or not Pacific, Central Division? Probably not. It's not really what you want to spend your final year doing. So,
I mean,
uh,
because he could have very well retired as a Vezina winning goaltender.
Vezina winning, multiple cup winning. I don't think anyone is going to doubt the career of Marc-Andre Fleury. Um, They may have if he hadn't have played so well in Vegas, because when he was getting replaced by Matt Murray in Pittsburgh, there was talk about what his reputation is going to be, but he solidified it more than anything else. Um, we see this a lot, and we talk about this a lot with hockey players. They maybe don't know when to retire, or they never want to go out on top because that's just not how they're wired.
Yeah, usually, especially let's actually be real. Yeah, let's be fair. Hockey players, they want to play until their legs get cut off.
Yeah, you don't get to be the best at something. Like hockey, because there are some things where patience and kind of self-awareness is very key, but something like hockey, you need to have some kind of cockiness to say, like, I am one of the best in the world at this. I know that I'm one of the best in the world at this. I'm going to keep doing this. And that's Marc-Andre Fleury to a T.
Let's also, again, look at just the general sense of how that those hockey players are. I mean, I'll just point to none other than a guy who's playing overseas now in Jaromir Jagr. That dude refuses to ever stop playing the game.
Yeah. Oh, what was the story yesterday? Tuca is going to play for the Providence AHL team. Did I read that right? Yeah. Uh, just announced yesterday, but we're seeing stories about it. Tuukka signed an AHL tryout contract with the Providence Bruins. Talk about no quit amongst NHL goalies.
Absolutely no. That's what's and it gets like it gets to the point where like if you had a mediocre career, then you can easily fall off as a goalie, but you still try no matter what.
Yeah.
Um, like I think, what Antoniemi got passed around like what half the league before he decided to leave. Um,
I mostly just see him Chicago and San Jose, but I know he
he
did a
went
couple teams
he went
afterwards.
Chicago, San Jose, Dallas, um, Montreal.
I
I
forgot all about Montreal. Yeah. No, it's crazy to watch. It is definitely one of the more interesting aspects, especially goalies. They're crazy. Don't trust the hockey goalie in general.
don't trust a hockey goalie in general. They're the weird. If you want to find a goaltender on any hockey team, NHL, AHL, ECHL, college, whatever, just find the weirdest dude on the ice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like a band. Always talk to the bass player. They tend to be like the weird one. But yeah.
And if you are a goaltender listening to this, take that as a compliment because you guys
Yeah.
stand out.
Yeah. And I am also weird, just weird in different ways
We're
that do not involve pucks flying at me.
exactly, exactly.
Uh,
But
I want
your
to talk
thoughts on
about. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say your thoughts on the game though, like on how you think this, like, because it's
So I think there's one thing that the Coyotes are going to need to do to get success, and that's shut down Alex DeBrincat. He comes into tonight's game with a 20 goal season so far. The Coyotes have had years where they do not have a single player reach the 20 goal plateau, and yet DeBrincat has 20 in 33 games. Uh, it's he's going to be the major shooter for the Blackhawks. They need to kind of keep an eye on him. Also on Patrick Kane and Seth Jones. Just those are I'd say the only major contributors to Chicago this season. And if they can shut them down, they got a good chance.
speaking of Dominican, what is it with? I think what we've probably over the course of this podcast, not just episode, but just over the last year, have probably mentioned almost half of the 2015 Erie Otters.
I think we're gonna go back and just look at the Erie Otters and be like, what was going on there?
Like
How?
how did they get that much talent in one freaking year? I mean, it
It's
makes
like
sense because that team won the Memorial Cup, I believe. But like,
Yeah. It's like the Velvet Underground. They say that there was 20 people who bought the first Velvet Underground album, but all 20 of those people went on to start their own punk band. Like there's just like certain things where it's like this small moment where you're like, I don't know what happened with it, but for some reason history decided that that is an important moment.
absolutely weird. So I just had to point that out because I find that really funny when she mentioned DeBrincat Stan. I'm just like, DeBrincat was on that team too, wasn't he? He's like, yeah, he was.
Yeah. Of course he was. Of course he
Of
was.
course he was.
Which I mean, you gotta feel for some of the guys on that team, just like the level of competition. It's like going into your class first day of freshman year, and you're like, "Oh, all the national merit scholars are in this class. They're really gonna blow up the curve."
Well, that's the way I felt when I was in high school. I went to a extremely uh, prestigious high school in San Jose, and I was I'm in like a pretty average student going all throughout middle school and whatever. And I guess I'm still slightly above average, and then once I got to high school, I'm like, oh no, I'm not average. I'm actually below average. Because these guys are all by the end of it, everyone was getting what 4.6 GPAs and going to Ivy League schools, Princeton, Harvard, Stanford. I'm just like, oh yeah.
I'm a product of Arizona's public education system. Go Willow Canyon Wildcats. We had Teach for America teachers in our school, which just kind of shows where we were at. Not good.
Yeah, to those who want any comparison, that those who live in Arizona and don't know schools outside, I went to California's version of Brophy College Prep.
Much different than my school.
Yeah, so just wanted to give you that heads up. That's pretty much the heads-on comparison. Uh, but yes, exactly. That's what it is. Not to sidetrack too much about that, but yeah, I'm with you on DeBrincat though. I think that you shut that dude down because if you can,
If you can, yeah, that's
given
gonna be the hard part.
given the fact that half of the defense is Roadrunners players, but
It'll be tough. It'll definitely be tough.
uh, what we're gonna do though is we're going to make our predictions via from our friends at BetOnline in just a sec. But first, a quick word from Kyle.
So, BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the number one spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. For 2022. There's a new year and a new updated desktop and mobile website to sign up today for and receive your 20 or your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code LOCKEDON to get started. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.
So let's go to BetOnline right now on our final segment of the show and look at the lines because we got hockey lines available for today's game, of course, as we always do on every pregame show.
Tell me the odds. What do we got?
So we got Arizona Coyotes are 1.5 underdogs at -175. Money line is plus 144 if you bet on the Coyotes, -160 if you bet on the Blackhawks. Total points 5.5 points, plus 100 if you bet on the over, -110 you bet on the under.
So it's weird. Are we ever going to see the Coyotes as not the underdogs this season? Probably not. Right?
Maybe Montreal.
Maybe Montreal. I feel like Chicago is right there with them. So I think this is going to be another low scoring affair, like the Coyotes last game and like the last game they played against the Blackhawks. I think they're going to have a little bit better of a chance this time. I'm going 2-1 Coyotes.
2-1 Coyotes. Now here's the question for you. Are you betting puck line or are you betting money line?
That is the question.
It's only a matter of how confident you are if on the Coyotes winning.
Not very confident at all.
So I'm assuming puck line then, so at least lose by 1.
Yeah, let's do the puck line. Just because, I mean, especially for a tight game, the Blackhawks, I felt they're on a losing streak. They were just embarrassed in their last game. They're going to come out hard. I think the Coyotes have a decent chance because I don't think the Blackhawks are a good team either. But it's tough to bet against a motivated team. Let me just say that.
Exactly. I'm also going under and betting on the spread, the puck line for the Coyotes. I'll take the points. Let's look at some of the props though. You got team to score first. If you bet on the Coyotes, it's plus 115. You also got the margin of victory. So if you do like what kind of both of us are kind of saying, and essentially saying, well, you say Coyotes by your prediction is Coyotes by 1, essentially, right? So you sent to
Yeah.
2-1 Coyotes. That's plus 325.
Mm.
Plus
I mean,
275 you pick Blackhawks by 1, and that's essentially what I'm going. I'm going that route. It's more. I'm thinking of more 3-2 game for Chicago, and in that sense, you can do the race to 3 goals during regulation. Chicago Blackhawks at -105.
Let me ask you about this one because it's one that I find very interesting. Time to first score. First 9 minutes and 59 seconds, -135. 10 minutes or later, +105. I think we both think this is going to be a high or a low scoring affair. What do you kind of think about that? Do you think either team comes out hot or
It'll take a bit. I'll take the 10 minutes or later.
yeah? Honestly, I would probably do the same for this one, and then watch both teams just get 3 goals in the first 5 minutes. They're like,
Knowing
"Oh, we're back to this again." Cluster, gotta love it.
know, knowing the typical luck of the sports bettor, that's going to happen. I've been pretty more lucky lately. I haven't like made any official bets in a long time, so I can't really say lately. But I'm usually pretty good at my predictions, as I say. I haven't kept complete track of all my predictions, but I think I'm about 500.
Yeah.
Maybe at around there.
I do think that right now it's very difficult to know which Coyotes team is going to show up and which opponent is going to show up. I think they're a little bit away from the looser games, but I mean something could happen. I don't see the Blackhawks as a particularly rusty team. We saw a good Coyotes game last time earlier this week, so I don't know. I just feel like this one's going to be tight, but you know, Saturday's game against the Predators. Who knows what's going to happen with that one?
Oh yeah, all those the Central Division gauntlet passing through. It's
And Dallas was supposed to be here. It was like a great credit to the schedule makers. If you wanted to have like a week of just showcasing the Coyotes' new division in January for some reason, it was a good idea, but didn't fall through.
maybe they're. I mean, that would be interesting because it can kind of gauge of whether or not you can do a outdoor game between a Central Division rival with the Arizona Coyotes involved.
Yeah. I feel like you could. I feel like especially like a Blackhawks Coyotes game would be good in a stadium series because you got a lot of Chicago expats. A lot of people would travel for that down. I think you can
Yeah,
make it
but then
happen.
that just means giving Chicago another outdoor game. They've already had like 15 million.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just what we got to deal with at this point in the NHL. Like, the Coyotes aren't going to be a draw for an outdoor game. You need to get a draw. If you want to go a division rival, like what? You go with the Chicago Blackhawks are the only ones with that kind of rivalry or that kind of draw. Like, maybe St. Louis Blues, but I don't think that they're necessarily a good rival
I
yet.
mean, in general, winter classic games sell a
Yeah.
lot. And I looked to the one a couple years ago when it was at the Cotton Bowl between Dallas and Nashville.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
That thing sold out with over 94,000 fans. Like,
Yeah.
also look at the beginning of the last decade when they had was it Detroit and some other team? I forgot who the other team was when it was at the Big House in
Yeah, but
Michigan.
that's Detroit. Uh,
Yeah, but again, that's 115 whatever. It's the biggest stadium and whatever, and still sold out for a hockey game.
yeah, and I still think they were on like what a 25 game playoff appearance streak. The
Yeah,
Detroit Red Wings. I agree with what you're saying, but I think that and I think the Nashville Dallas example is good, but the Coyotes are not the Detroit Red Wings
no,
just at
I'm
all.
not saying I'm not. I kind of just went a little bit of an extra tangent, just saying like how cool Winter Classic games can be and how fans can come to these games.
True.
Um, like I can already imagine a Winter Classic or a Stadium Series game at Sun Devil Stadium.
That'd be a good one. It'd be a real good one.
I was thinking of a potential of out of any of the stadiums. don't go back to Glendale and do one at State Farm. Like, just doesn't do much for you. Especially since it doesn't look good in that area. Like, at least with Sun Devil Stadium, you have it's pretty much built right next to the mountain.
Yeah.
And, like,
Or they could do one at whatever Chase Field is called now. Is it still called Chase
it's
Field?
still,
I
still
don't know.
Chase Field.
I can never keep track. Do it at Banquet Ballpark. That's the good one.
Yeah, or do it at one of the one of the spring training facilities. No, that'd be
Oh,
terrible.
that'd be great. Oh. Oh, that would piss off so much Canada. I love it.
I know, right? Just like we're like, why you don't have enough fans? Just like, not our problem.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Anyways, we both have roughly the same prediction. We just have different winners in this case. Just same score margin, same bet picks essentially.
Yeah.
For this game. Any final thoughts you want to share before we close things off and get ready for tonight's game?
This has definitely been an interesting one. I think the Coyotes have a good shot. They just gotta stay disciplined, not take too many penalties, make something happen on the power play, and be decent defensively.
Yep, absolutely. But on that note, that is it for today's episode of Lockdown Coyotes. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you get to already. We are available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes. On Twitter, at LO_Coyotes. I am personally at Robyn_Leano. I know it as Robyn with the Y_LEANO. Carl Pavlik is Carl Pavlik FFH. Interact with us, ask us a question you might have. We can answer right back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.